excited about this next segment, which is a panel discussion with our three administrators, our local champions, we're calling them. They've led the work of implementing and planning the TK programs at their districts. And so I'll just start with the introductions. I know Jackie already did, but we have from Lancaster Unified School District, our Director of Early Learning, Kelly Fountain. From Long Beach Unified, we have Assistant Director of Early Childhood Education and ELOP, Chris Damon. And from Downey Unified, we have a Teacher on Special Assignment, Innovative Education Programs, Carrie Kim. So we'll start with a little background about each of our panelists. And so I'll ask them if you would please each define your role and describe how you have been involved with planning and implementing high-quality TK at your district.
So my name is Kelly Fountain, and I was the director of the state preschool program in our school district. So when I heard TK was coming, I had been involved in the TK implementation at a very minute level when it first came, trying to support play-based learning at that time, which didn't go over too well. So in my CSPP world, when I heard it was coming back around again, I blazed my way to the top of making sure that I had a seat at the table. At that time, I didn't realize I was the table. But I wanted to make sure the children had the same high quality experience they would have had with us in our state preschool program as we were now giving them to the LEA to do that work. So that's how I got involved.
And I got involved, I'm just going to hold it. I was involved because in Long Beach Unified, another teacher invited me into the room next door and said, "Hey, I have an idea." I said, "Yeah." And we started to pilot basically a TK program. We called it Preppy Kindergarten. We saw students who needed more than what they were getting when they were just thrust into a kinder experience. And so we provided that opportunity for some of our families, actually only 20 of them, and it took off. And so by the time the state started to implement transitional kindergarten, we were well on our way. So lucky in that way that we had an assistant superintendent and a principal who believed in our big idea and let us run with it and try it out as a pilot. And so that was back in 2007. And then by about 2012, we had 600 TK students enrolled. Long Beach is the fourth largest district in the state, so we do have quite a few kids. And right now, as assistant director and expanding TK out until every 4-year-old is welcome, we already have 1,100 kids enrolled for next school year. So exciting stuff.
Okay, about this time last year is when my department, Innovative Ed, found out that we would be in charge of TK. So we got on board right away. My small team of my director of Innovative Ed, Dr. Sandoval. We have an early learning coordinator, Lisa Rawlings. Myself as the Innovative Ed TOSA. And then we hired a TK teacher to become a TOSA to help support our work. And she finally came on board in October of 2022. And we have our senior secretary that helps with all the ordering of materials and curriculum that we need. Part of our job in Innovative Ed is to expand all of our new programs in Downey. So not only TK, but we're also servicing dual immersion and international baccalaureate. And we have our first preschool that we started 2 years ago. So that's kind of our pipeline that we at least have articulation built with our preschool to TK, and then hopefully be beyond that to kinder through 3rd grade.
Wonderful, thank you, thank you. In terms of vision and coherence, what are your plans for aligning this work beyond TK at your school district?
Okay, I'll go first because I don't have much to say on this yet. So as I told you, Innovative Ed we get the privilege of working with our TK teachers and preschool teachers. But kinder through 3rd is another department. So one thing that we have on our side is our superintendent, Dr. John Garcia, wants every child in every classroom to have the same high quality experience. So we're building upon that to ensure that all of our TK teachers who for a long time have been working in silos, like there's only been one TK teacher at each of our 12 elementary sites. So, but he wants them all to be equipped, provided the professional development so they can be providing a strong curriculum for their students. So we've brought these teachers together in collaborative teams so that at least our TK teachers and that grade level can be unified.
In Long Beach, back when the state started to implement transitional kindergarten, our then assistant superintendent, now superintendent, Dr. Jill Baker, brought together 4 pilot sites to collaborate in P3 work. So the sites were chosen because they had a Head Start, a CSPP program, a TK, K. We went all the way up to 3rd on each of those campuses. So we started that collaboration in the district. Some early learning work continued for all principals during principals meetings throughout the years, but the P3 work kind of fell off for a while. And then in 2021, we came back together with a group we called B3 because our Head Starts serve early. We do early Head Start. So we serve from 3 months to 5 years in Head Start. So that team has collaborated regularly over the past 2 years and really has moved the work forward by committing to have our directors of Head Start, our CSPP, which is our Child Development Centers. We also have incorporated into that team people from our Office of Curriculum Instruction and Professional Development. Occasionally, assistant superintendents will sit down on our team meetings. So it's hard for all those people to give up time so regularly, but the value that we've seen from it and the collaboration that's happened because of it and going through it for 2 years, we've all bought in. And I think it's going to continue as time moves on. So that's been really a big part of our work.
Well, our vision and coherence is a little different. We kind of came at this from the perspective, if CSPP, as many of you in early learning know, is on the other side of the chain link fence, right? Those aren't the same kids at the school district, even though in 10 short months they are the exact same kids. So we kind of approached it from this perspective of we needed to build a workforce, and the hardworking women of color in our ECE programs deserve to be in those TK classrooms. So we championed, and I say we because Linda Brown, my coordinator, is here with me today. We work at AVC Community College, and we approached them with a fast-track system for the early childhood units because we knew on the other end of a teacher in a state preschool classroom without a bachelor's degree, there would be TK teachers or teachers in 6th grade who were credentialed wanting those TK spots. So we were adamant about designing a fast track for those teachers that were already credentialed to get the 24 units in a year's time. And our first cohort has graduated or will be graduating in the next couple of weeks from those 24 units. So that was a huge piece for what we wanted to do to make sure that if a credentialed teacher could come down to TK, they at least had 24 units of child development. So we worked hard on that. And on the other end, we're working hard to empower and embrace our early ed workforce to develop confidence and self-esteem to get themselves that bachelor's degree if they don't already have it. So we have a combination of people entering into our TK classrooms from lots of different places. I'm working on my doctorate degree in early ed on retention in the workforce. So I know how detrimental the changes in the field, how they impact the women in the ECE classrooms, and how that turnover is so much higher for so many reasons, which we can unpack at a different time. But I wanted to make sure that we had options for everyone that was in that space to be there for the right reasons with the right education and the right experience.
Thank you. Thank you. It definitely starts with the vision, right? No matter what that looks like. So the next question has 2 parts, and it's about community engagement and partnerships. Can you please tell us about who you have engaged in the UPK planning process, and also how you have engaged the families of your community, the teachers, and the administrators in planning and implementing your high-quality early learning options as a whole?
So one thing that's unique about Long Beach Unified, or I should say not Long Beach Unified, the city of Long Beach, and I don't think it's actually totally unique because I've seen it in other cities and communities, but we have something what we call the LBECE committee. And it is a group of individuals and partners who are invested in all children growing up healthy, safe, and educated in the city of Long Beach. So we have public and private preschools, nonprofits. We have home-based pre-K people involved, social services, Cal State Long Beach City College, Long Beach Health Department, Children's Dental Clinic, YMCA. So you can see it's a huge variety of community partners that come together. So with that in existence, we were able to tap into them to see what their part or what we needed to do for the whole UPK for our community. So we were lucky to have that piece. But so look for that maybe in your communities. That's something to look for. People who get together, they're out there. Sometimes we just don't know. Sometimes private preschool directors all have their own little group that you've never even heard of before. So always listening for that. And I say one thing that's a big area of growth for us is still engaging our administrators. And I think the principals in the room know what I'm talking about. There's so many things to talk about at a 5-hour principal meeting that early learning is often left over to the side. So we claw our way in there every so often and get some information for them to help guide them through the year. They all have the DAP book, but for right now, I don't think it's being engaged with. We just haven't made that next leap. So that's the next area of growth for us is really our administrators.
Thank you.
Well, in Downey, we've definitely partnered with LACO. Jackie Alma, Kathy Squires has provided wonderful professional development. There she is in the back, if you don't know Kathy. They have been such a pivotal support for us since I told you that we're in charge of the professional development for our TK teachers and making sure that they all have the foundations. It was a challenge at first, or we assumed our TK teachers, because they've been doing this for 10 years now, we thought that they were all equipped with the preschool learning foundations. They had access to those books and the framework, but let's just say they appreciated the time we took to go through those foundations one by one at times. So thank you, LACO, for that partnership. We've also had a great partnership with Lakeshore. That facilities is always a challenge in finding spaces to provide the professional development. Well, they've got a training center for free that they've offered to us. So we've taken our teachers over there. And then just the collaboration with my team in Innovative Ed. We've been doing this planning together. We're a small but mighty team. As Chris mentioned, getting in front of the principals is hard, but we do claw our way. We made it to one principals meeting this year, and they appreciated it. It was short but sweet, and they were now understanding that it's okay to walk into a classroom and see kids playing. So at least that was one step in the right direction. And we have so many surveys that we send out to engage our parents, and that's part of the reason why we started our preschool program. It was because of the feedback that we got from parents when we survey them through the LCAP survey. We have a PAC committee, we have DLAC, we have school site council meetings. Anytime we're in front of parents, we're always asking them, how can we best support your needs?
So we took this a step back, and when they originally rolled out the UPK implementation plan with the 5 focus areas, that's where we started our work. We created a community, a steering committee, not a community steering. We tried to get the community to the steering committee. And on our steering committee, we had staff from the CSPP program, the business office, curriculum instruction, equity, data, UTK teachers. We had both teacher unions represented, HR, school board members were invited, and one principal who's here today. Thank you, David, is our champion. And we started really looking at each of those focus areas and deciding what is our vision and coherence, and then what was our workforce challenges going to be, and where were our facilities challenges, which we continue to have to this day. But in working on that piece by piece, I was able to then bring back to cabinet every week. Here's where we're working. Here's where our challenges are. Here's what we need. And some of those disconnects came from leadership above me, not understanding what the state was asking us to do, or understanding like, what's going to happen if we don't do this? Or will there be a fine? So some of those things came up often. But I think I remember early on in this work in a Zoom meeting, seeing Jackie's face and hearing Jackie talk. And I said, I need to connect with Jackie. And that partnership with LACO has been priceless to me, because she's given me the inspiration to keep fighting, which I appreciate very much. And I think what I know about UTK is the first time I ever met Kathy when she was doing a training for our teachers, and I want to say 2015, about the Learning Foundation. So we were lucky in our district that the foundation that she had laid with them, they were using the Preschool Learning Foundations, and they had designed a YAG around those foundational skills that teachers needed to know. But as far as partnering with the community, I have worked really, I think, diligently with the ELOP director and providing developmentally appropriate space for children after school. So that TK ratio after school is 1 to 10. And so working with her, and I think Tom is here somewhere. I thought Tom was here somewhere.
Leading a breakout session.
Oh, okay, in a breakout session. Working with him on what that should look like in ELOP as well. So as far as finding CBOs or community-based organizations, they're not easy to find, and also a little bit upset that we took their 4-year-olds. So we're still have a lot of work to do on creating what I think you would call as a collaborative in our area, which is very far on the outer edge of LA County. It's the last space before Kern County. So resources aren't as available up there. But our district did just get awarded the community engagement grant. So we're hoping lots of resources will come to us because of that.
Thank you. Thank you. One of the focus areas that many districts have questions about is P-3 curriculum, instruction, and assessment. And so the next question also has 2 parts. First, please share the components or pillars of your early learning instructional program. And then please tell us what supports are being provided to your teachers.
Okay, I will start. We gutted the classrooms, and that meant in curriculum too. So over the summer, we worked pretty hard to clean out anything you would think of as a traditional TK classroom, desks, chairs, everything went. And we replaced it with Lakeshore materials, thousands and thousands of boxes of Lakeshore materials. We took the curriculum, everything that they knew about any publisher curriculum, we removed from them and replaced it with the Preschool Learning Foundations and the DRDP. We did a 30-hour boot camp for teachers and administrators on developmentally appropriate play. What is an ECHRS? What is the ECHRS? What is the DRDP? What is the Preschool Learning Foundation? What is social emotional regulation for 4-year-olds? We offered that to them in I want to say August, just before school started, and they were all on board. They all signed up, and then they saw the whites of the children's eyes and got a little scared. When a child says no to you and they're 4, they weren't really sure what to do with that information. So I appreciated what Dr. Nichols said today about the pathway to their regulation. So we have continued work to do around that for them. And there has been a lot of challenges, I want to say, around that social emotional piece for children and teachers. If you were a teacher who went to college to get a multiple subject credential, you didn't get the training you need for social emotional regulation of a 4-year-old coming out of a pandemic with children who have not been out in public at all. So that piece has been a struggle, I want to say, not just for our teachers, but for our principals as well, because they're not sure what to do with a 4-year-old that's misbehaving. Do I send them home? Do I expel them? Do I suspend them? Where do I put them? And so we have a lot of work to do around how do we support them in getting down at the child's level and recognizing you're having a moment right now, and I still love you, and in the end of this moment, we're going to work together to get to the next moment. We have a lot of work to do there. We did bring in conscious discipline for our preschool staff this year. We're going to extend that to our TK staff next year. And we're hoping, we have 3 principals. I can't say how honored I am that they came all the way down here in their last couple of days of work to do this institute with us, because those 3 will be a small pebble that will get the momentum rolling for the rest of our principals in our district. So thank you guys.
So similar to Lancaster, Long Beach also gutted our classrooms. we say we moved everybody's cheese, and we did it to the kindergarten teachers too at the same time. So over a period of the summer, about 6 to 8 weeks, 280 classrooms were totally transformed. We asked them to pack everything up. We gave them a quick guide to Eckers, focusing on classroom environment and outdoor learning. So we just took 2 pieces. They all got the Eckers book. They packed everything up, left their rooms, and came back to something totally different. And along with all the trepidation, we've moved to acceptance and excitement. And not only did we do that, we moved them from part day to full day. And that was a really big shift for them as well. We were I'd say a little late to the game for full day. The percentage of full day kindergarten went up significantly in California when Long Beach decided to go for it. But it's been a wonderful experience for our kids this year, and that's who it's all really about. So we've guided our teachers and supported them through the year with professional development, mostly based on play-based learning, because the thing we asked them, we're giving you 2 more hours a day. We want you to play. We want those children to have child-directed play, an hour outside and an hour inside, TK and K. And a lot of them played along, and they're learning how to do play-based learning and how to build conceptual knowledge through play. So that's been a focus of our professional development as well. Their DAP books are also still sitting probably on the shelf, but they have them, so we will get to it. Conscious discipline is another thing that we've engaged in. So one of the unique pieces that we've been able to do in Long Beach Unified, there's 55 rooms right now. 20 of those rooms are a partnership with a CSPP teacher. The CSPP teacher has come into the TK room to partner with the TK teacher. And 5 are a Head Start. So those 5 are operating as licensed Head Start. So we figured out, we had a lot of bumps along the road. It's getting better. We're going to maintain those partnerships next year. Due to workforce shortages, we can't add more, but at least we can maintain what we have and develop those partnerships. So we are offering conscious discipline to kindergarten teachers this summer for an optional training. So on the 20th, 21st and 22nd, we have a 3-day summer institute that we're offering to kindergarten TK. We're bringing in any paraprofessionals who work with TK who want to come as well. So we're hoping for about 200 teachers in attendance, and it'll be 2 days of conscious discipline, and a third, again, based on joyful learning environments. It's called Finding the Joy in the Journey, because that's what we need to all get back to.
We've definitely done similar things as Chris and Kelly mentioned. We're really building on the highly engaging interest areas in each of our classrooms and making sure our teachers have the resources they need to fill those areas and make them to change them out often so the kids have a variety of things to do and choose. For PD this year, we provided every TK teacher 3 professional development days with a substitute. So we brought them out of the classroom, and that's the work we partnered with LACO to provide that PD, building on the preschool learning foundations. We started with social emotional because that's the foundation, and then we moved on to language and literacy for the 2nd day, and then math for the 3rd day. We provide monthly collaboration meetings where we bring all of our TK teachers, where there's 19 of them, and next year we will have 25. So we meet with them monthly after school and pay them extra to come and learn from each other and to go deeper into the learning from the PD days. We also have collaborative meetings with the interventionists. So now that we have the 1-to-12 ratio, hopefully 1-to-10 eventually, but we wanted to make sure that we start building that pipeline of building up our, whoever we have, staff, to become eventual TK teachers. So we've got these TK interventionists in these classrooms, and we want to provide them the same learning that the teachers are getting so that they're not far behind when they get the job and are the classroom teacher, and then they have their own interventionist. So we've built those in throughout the year, and we provide individual coaching and support as needed with our TK TOSA going in, and helping them with embedding technology or boosting up their classroom environment, whatever that they are asking for. We try to provide them the support.
So we really want to open up the floor for any questions that you all may have for our panel. We have some other questions, but we'll put them up at lunchtime for you to engage with each other. And so at this time, we have 2 microphones set up here in the room. If you have a question, a specific question for our panelists, you're welcome to come up and ask the question. Otherwise, we'll go back and ask some reflection questions.
So my question is, I feel like because TK is new, this whole everything is new, we want to provide high quality PDs for our TK teachers and admin, but besides LACO, we don't know where else to look for to find high quality PD that is not interrupting the school day or doesn't require too much time away from the classroom. So whether it's summer or after school or online resources. So that's what I want to see if anybody had any information on that. Thank you.
You're looking for a PD that they can engage in on their own, or you want to guide it?
Either.
So there's some fabulous resources that I am sure are in the Padlet. SECO, the SECO website has free resources, and if the teacher wants to become part of the workforce registry pathway, that also will be collected there. CPIN offers amazing training. They'll either come to you or you can go to them, but they like to travel. And then there's a website for social emotional, the CCEFL, which is the pyramid, which is a whole another training. That's available too. And that's something you could go through and teach yourself how to do those modules and then teach them, or they can do that on their own. Those are the 3 resources I think we would use on a daily.
And then Kelly, I'm just going to add, there was also this year, we launched the TK Teachers Community of Practice series, and that's going to continue next year. So we were holding those monthly. And so we definitely invite all of you to invite your teachers to be part of those COP sessions, and they're happening virtually. And then we're also taking the time to record some mini modules that we're going to upload to the website. And so I know Dr. Walsh over there in the back, who's going to be doing integrated curriculum breakout, she has been very instrumental in creating and developing these mini modules. So that's another option. And of course, the more we can collaborate and the more we can, eventually hopefully get 2 more coordinators on board to make more trainings available to both administrators as well as teachers through our UPK grant. And CPEN, of course.
And don't be afraid to ask another district, can I come see what you're doing? Chris, my boss, his bucket list item was to have Long Beach to come to Lancaster. We're always told, go to Long Beach, see what they're doing. So Chris brought her whole team up, and Kelly's here from Newhall. She came to see what we're doing too. Don't be afraid to reach out to another school district and say, can we partner on this? Because we've learned a lot from each other, and it's a continual conversation that we have to support the work.
I think I logged into, I don't know, so many webinars and Zooms these days to support this UPK, but we connected with someone up north who was starting the blending and braiding of their CSPP, and we're like, wait a minute, how are you doing that? So we got on a Zoom with her. So even when you're logging in, you find these little nuggets of information that apply to you and your unique district and or school. So I think that's a great resource. And I was going to say CPIN as well. It's a wonderful resource.
So we've had TK for quite some time, but this is going to be different. what have you done or what do you plan to do to prepare your kindergarten teachers to have a different expectation of the students coming in from TK into their classes? How are you addressing that?
Well, I think I'm very happy that we moved everybody's cheese, as in furniture and schedule, both TK and K at the same time. So now I think it's really, and I was in a labor partner meeting with kindergarten teachers because we had our own committee because of this big move. They're concerned about first grade. Well, they've had all this time to play and now they're never going to play in first grade. And in my head, I'm think not if I have anything to do about it. They're going to do some playing in first grade. We really want to. We've started where we are with TK and K, and we really want to push up to first and second to incorporate a little more play-based learning. But I think that's where either just in your system, you need to promote your principals with that vertical collaboration. At that time, if you can take a staff meeting time and let those teachers talk to their adjacent grade levels, especially in the beginning and the end of the year, I think it's very valuable. So I think that could be something very hands-on that could address that issue.
Yeah, particularly around the autonomy and leadership, because kids can do independent things now in TK that they weren't allowed to do before. So as they move into kindergarten, just having a conversation about how they picked their own activities, they picked their own jobs, they are able to use the restroom without asking an adult for permission, having conversations about that piece. I think that would benefit the kindergarten teacher to know you don't have to direct every moment of their time. They can self-direct.
Thank you. So our time is actually a little after. Oh, we have another. Oh,
Sorry.
sorry.
We have, I'm in charge of the pre-K through first grade, so I have preschool, and right now we're trying to transition into being all 3-year-olds and then our TK being all 4-year-olds. How do you change that mindset though? Because now you have the 3-year-olds and the 4-year-olds and the curriculum, because you guys mentioned something about just the creative curriculum. Is there anything else that guides us or can guide us to differentiate besides the foundations? Because I know that it delineates like what 3-year-olds should be learning, what 4-year-olds should be learning. But, our teachers are so old school that they need to have, a teacher's guide to kind of guide them. How did you get out of that? Or are you guys still in that? And what curriculum are you using besides creative curriculum?
That's an issue when we combined all of our little systems, our silos. So our CSPP is using Big Day, our Head Start's using creative curriculum, our TK is using World of Wonders. So the first little bridge we've created is we're going to use building blocks math to get some more hands-on, really concrete development of mathematics skills. And CSPP is jumping on first. TK is coming behind, and we'll see what happens with Head Start. And we are going to look at a unified integrated curriculum that we can use between all of them. So Kelly and I differ on this one. I'm all for having something in front of them that they can use to guide their instruction, with the caveat, and this will come from training, but follow your students' interests. If ants aren't the thing for them, you need to listen in and see what is the thing for them. Are spiders too scary? Don't do spiders. Spiders are scary for 4-year-olds. Kindergartners love them. But so really listen to students. So Kelly, you want to speak a little bit?
Yeah, I'm adamant about not having a publisher's curriculum because what teachers need to know is standards. And if they understand what children need to know, they don't need a curriculum to tell them to turn the page, do this today. Creative curriculum is probably the best one out there if I, don't put this out there, because they don't tell the teacher what to do page by page. They say, this is a unit of study. If your kids are interested in that, you do this unit of study. But I'm adamant about understanding and knowing what children should be able to do at that age, understanding that a 4-year-old is a fluid developmental age. And if you can know that a 4-year-old can learn to self-regulate, can be in a space with his peers, can learn to be comfortable with the adults in his care, can ask questions that are open-ended, can investigate things on their own. You can just put in provocative materials in the space and teach the teachers to be facilitators of learning rather than guiders. So that's what we do. We took all of the curriculum away. We are teaching the teachers next year how to do that DRDP planning cycle so they can look at where their children are on the DRDP in the fall and intentionally create lesson planning around where they need to be by the spring. And in doing that, we are supporting them to take a step back from the pressure of having to be on this page, on this day, at this time, and play with kids. And so the only caveat from that is we do know our phonemic awareness and our phonological awareness are not where they need to be. So we are going to add in a Hegarty, which is a systematic system that teaches kids in a very quick chunk of time. So that circle is no longer than 10 minutes. And Hegarty is 3 of those 10. So we have had success for just taking curriculum away and just telling them, just spend the year playing with kids. And they have had a great time. Now, some of our I'm not going to be, some of them left. This is not the world I want to live in. And that is totally okay. But we were very clear going up front. Now that we've had a year in our district, this is what TK looks like. This is what you're signing up for. You're signing up for a kid who might be screaming when he walks in the door and 5 minutes later peeing in his pants. That's what you're signing up for. You're signing up for no curriculum. You're signing up for early learning foundations. And we have teachers who are finishing up the 24 units and people in preschool who've been there for 20 years who are saying, I'm going to go get my credential. So we built it, and now they're starting to come. So if that feels good.
Awesome. Thank you.
I'll end by saying we also use Hegarty for phonemic awareness in TK and kindergarten. It's awesome. Teachers love it. And we use creative curriculum for their preschool, but no curriculum for TK. And we've just focused our PD on good questions teachers can ask. Like Dr. Nicholson mentioned, when they're making soup with the sand, how are you going to ask, what's in your soup? And what can I write that down? What's in your recipe? And modeling good language. So that's where we're going, and the teachers are loving it. So take away those scripts.
And I forgot to add, I said I would add this. We did PD for our recreation aides. And it was really powerful because those recreation aides see all the kids, not just the 24 or 20 in their room. And those recreation aides felt so empowered. So we used Eckers with them, and we used the question stems. That's what made me remember to mention it. We created question stem cards for them to have the Strive for 5 discussions on the playground with students and in the cafeteria, and how to set up a playground to be intentional for it to be more outdoor learning, child-directed outdoor learning. So if you have any capacity for that, I would highly recommend training some recreation aides and bringing them together and treating them as professionals. They loved it, and we're getting great results from it.
Wonderful, wonderful. Let's thank our panelists for their time and inspiration. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.